Hey guys and ghouls, welcome back to the Cozy Ghost. I'm your host October, and today we are back with First Snow. So, it's been a while, and the only reason it's been a while is because I'm stupid. Yeah. So we just got to Act 3, which apparently means we're getting a lot closer to the end than I thought we were, so let's just get right into it. One thing I hadn't counted on when asking Eileen if I could come over was how large the distances involved were. I'm already feeling the difference from home. Colorado and Utah might be right next to each other on a map, but all to be seen between them are vast plains of utterly nothing. With noon approaching and little else around for miles as we motored down the endless strip of tarmac, Rose made the executive decision to chance this place for some lunch. It's a little chintzy for my tastes, the faux 50s interior decorated with a mishmash of cheap Americana, but Rose is in her element as she stuffs down another hunk of meat. At least it's quiet beyond the cheerful music, given we have the diner to ourselves. I'd barely slept all night, not only at the prospect of seeing Eileen's home, but at this being my first trip so far from my own. Right now, though, I'm just glad to be free of the motorbike's vibration and noise. Finally become used to the odd short trip around the city, but this road trip is something else entirely.
Still getting your back legs, huh?
I forgot she's Southern.
It's been 4 hours. Ugh, give me a break.
3 more to go.
She digs in once more as I groan and try to swing my legs back to life. Oh, 7 hours?
Man, the steaks here are amazing. You're missing out.
I think I'll be fine.
I take a sip of my milkshake while gauging how best to tackle the huge plate of steaming nachos before me, buried in cheese, sauce, and sour cream. The jalapenos are carefully picked off and sitting to the side. There's not much to see out here as I glance out the window. Just an endless plain stretching out to the horizon, an enthusiastic welcome sign at the otherwise invisible border being all that indicated we'd entered a different state. I'm not sure what I expected, really. I knew there are no rivers or anything defining the border, but it's a different thing to see that for yourself. It's just so arbitrary. A line on a map, nothing more. Far from being any sort of revelation, it just makes me feel rather silly about being so sheltered. So I'll probably barely registered to Eileen as she drove along the lonely highway. Why didn't they drive together? Rose picks up her phone to check the address I gave her once again, forcing down the current chunk of steak she's eating with a giant gulp.
Still have a while to go, huh? If it's as close to the big city as you've said, we shouldn't have a problem finding the place. So, she's never told you anything about her home? Her family?
She mentioned her sister once.
She scratches the back of her head as she thinks.
I don't mean to pry, but I still don't get why she'd come all the way from outside the state to live in Utah. Not that I have anything against the place, I do like it, but it's not exactly where I choose if I were her. But coming here just for a community college? That's the part that gets me. I'm not exactly an artist, but from what you've said, she could probably get a scholarship at a proper college. Sounds like she could probably afford tuition even without one.
Rose looks to me for answers, but I have none. When she puts it that way, there are vast stretches of Eileen's past that are total black spots to me. She leaves me to stew a little as we eat our respective meals, piping up again as she chews.
Remember when you asked me about my family a few weeks ago? And I blew you off? I feel like I should probably explain that. Not to get too deep into things, I ended up cutting ties with my mom and pop. Given what my family was like, I wanted to have a clean break from them.
Oh. I'm sorry for bringing it up.
I've made peace with it, don't worry. My point.
Oh, whoops. Failing to remember, she starts circling her fork in the air.
The point of all this was... Right, Eileen. I'm just saying that there might be a reason she's cagey about her personal life.
I guess that makes sense. My nod earns a comforting grin.
You're a good kid, Allison. I'm sure you'll do fine. In fact, you even taught me a little something. To be honest, I expected to be mothering you around when you first arrived to live with me. That you were some kid I already knew everything about, who I'd be left teaching adult life to. Yeah, I was kind of wrong there.
But you've helped me so much. I couldn't have managed without you around.
You've surprised me so much. You made me rethink how much I know about the world and other folks as an adult. I got a little arrogant without even realizing it, and you brought me down to earth. I thought adulthood was about knowing everything, but it's actually about admitting how much you don't know. I wanted to thank you for teaching me that.
Satisfied with her explanation, Rose quickly gets back to her precious steak. Left in thought, I get back to my own food. I didn't realize I could have such an impact on another's life, let alone Rose's. I looked up to her so much that I forgot we were both just mudding through life together. Eileen's lived so much of her life in a solitary manner that maybe opening up to me isn't easy. Maybe she just doesn't want to, given her past experiences.
Eileen aside, this trip's probably a good thing. It'll push you out of your own comfort zone a little. You've already grown in the time I've been bunking with you. Just hang in there, right?
Thanks. I will.
Atta girl.
Sharing a smile, we get back to our food. Of all the people I might have ended up with as a roommate, someone like Rose was among the last I expected. Maybe she's just the sort of person who is best for me. The two of us find ourselves in a surprisingly quaint little corner of America. A heavily forested town with snow-covered pines visible no matter which direction you look. Wood seems to be the norm for building around here rather than concrete. I find it quite charming, actually. I was worried I'd be awkwardly roaming through some manicured slice of suburbia, but this feels closer to a friendly country town. Almost something from one of Eileen's westerns.
Just give me a call the day before you want to come back, alright?
I will. Thanks again for all this. I know it's a really long way.
Don't worry. It's a nice ride out to here anyway. Might stick around a bit before heading back.
As she walks back to her bike, she stops and turns around once more, raising her hand in farewell.
If you ever want to give me a call, go ahead. It's no problem. I'll be seeing you, Allison.
Bye, Rose. Thanks for everything.
She beams a smile. She gets back on her bike, fitting her helmet before kicking back the stand. With a flick of her wrist and press of her foot, the bike roars to life, Rose sailing off down the road and around the corner, out of sight. I do my best to appear natural as I turn back to the house before me. Duffel bag of clothes slung over my shoulder. The scenery around here is nice. There's hardly a crowd. In fact, I'm the only person around at all. Now that I get a good look at it, Eileen's house sure is big. My eyes slowly scan around as I slowly make my way down the front garden path, taking in every detail. I guess being outside the city would make a bigger houses a little more affordable. With a gulp, I gingerly press the doorbell beside the solid oaken door, quickly brushing my clothes with my hand afterwards to look as presentable as possible. Even as muffled footsteps approach, I'm trying to flick a little snow from my hair. As Eileen opens the door, I'm greeted by a warm smile. That reflexive reaction at the sight of me makes me feel better already.
Fancy seeing you here.
I made it. In the end.
Enjoy the bike ride?
Yeah, it was great.
I don't think I managed to make that very convincing. Looking at each other, I think we both realize we're just making small talk. She leans forward, the two of us sharing a momentary kiss before she nods for me to come in. It's strange how such a simple action can feel so nice every time, my heart skipping even from the most gentle peck. I obediently follow her inside, closing the door behind me as I do.
Dad, she's here.
Eileen's cut off by the sound of socked footsteps on carpet rapidly approaching. A small figure suddenly skips around the corner of the stairs and out into the entranceway, nearly barreling straight into Eileen before stopping herself. Oh my god, she's adorable! With both of us taken by surprise, the small girl examines me. Likely around 10 by the looks of her, it's difficult not to see a bit of Eileen in her face.
Hello there.
She quickly shuffles behind Eileen in response, her apprehensive face peering out from safety. Eileen just gives a sigh in response.
Welcome to the family.
The smell of freshly cooked chicken wafts in the air, the skin still steaming away with an appetizing glint. The line of plates down the center of the table hardly lacks for sides, either with potato salad, coleslaw, lettuce, and other greens. While I'm thankful for the luxurious dinner before me, it's a rather quick introduction to her family. I can't help but feel intimidated when surrounded by everyone at once. With her father already preparing dinner as Eileen let me in, and her mother arriving from work only soon after, it was unavoidable. That being the case, here we all are, gathered around one big table. While not exactly a mansion, it's obvious Eileen's family lives very comfortably. I'd probably be green with envy at how well off they are, if not for being so self-conscious of how to act in front of them.
I suppose some proper introductions are in order now that we're all together.
He looks nice. I don't know how to feel about her.
I'm Eileen's father, Andrew, and this is my lovely wife, Elizabeth.
A pleasure. And you would be Allison?
Oh, yes. Allison Merlot.
My nerves seem to amuse her father as he gives a reassuring smile.
This isn't a job interview. You can relax.
Right, yeah, sorry.
I let out a long breath to try and relax a little, though it doesn't really work.
Well, now, let's dig in. I'm no chef, but it hopefully shouldn't give you food poisoning.
Smiling politely at his attempt to lighten the mood, I start to ladle this and that from the large plates. My mouth's already watering at the prospect of so much wonderful food. Rose might be many things, but she isn't a cook. Satisfied with my selection of meat and salads, I pile some potato salad onto my fork and tentatively have a taste. My reactions seem to draw some smiles as I make progress on the meal, but I'm so enamored with the food, I can't help but keep going.
It's nice to see Eileen's already made friends in college.
Friends? A brief panic comes over me as I realize we haven't talked this over. Is she out to her parents? Are we going to play this simply as friends? As I mull over how to handle things, Eileen's voice cuts through.
Allison's my girlfriend. I probably should have mentioned that earlier.
Everything seems to stop for a moment.
Yes, you should have.
I thought you said having a girlfriend wouldn't be a problem.
You know that isn't what I'm talking about. This isn't the first time you've kept us in the dark since moving out.
I have to admit that I can sympathize with her mother, which puts me in a delightfully awkward spot. Eileen's father makes no attempt to mediate as he eats, which is probably the best approach.
I didn't think I needed to report back on everything I did.
Don't you think this is important enough to warrant a phone call?
Neither Eileen nor her mother raise their voice, even eating the odd bit of food as they quibble. The argument almost feels routine, which, going by her father's reaction, might well be the case. Even her sister is still eating, albeit with badly hidden glances.
Our daughter's first girlfriend. Isn't it nice she gained something from college?
She looks pointedly to her husband with just an edge of snark in her voice, but he perhaps smartly simply acknowledges her with a smile. Dropping that on them here now is quite the decision. I'm beginning to wonder why I thought this was a good idea. I can't read her parents at all, but I can already tell my presence here is only increasing a tension that usually permeates this household.
Well, you know now.
Jesus Christ. At least Eileen dating a girl isn't a problem in and of itself. Eileen's father finally pipes up as their argument peters out, taking a swig of his wine to wash down his food.
Setting all that aside, it sounds like college in Utah is working out well for the both of them.
Her father gives a brief chuckle, maybe sensing my tense mood. He seems down to earth and relaxed, especially compared to Eileen's mother. That said, I get a vague feeling of being a foreigner, not just because I'm in a different city. So if there's a certain social etiquette that I'm not quite aware of, but everyone else is following naturally.
Quite. So, tell us about yourself, Allison.
Tension now focused on me, I freeze up. I must have expected this would come up. Judging by their conversation, Eileen probably told them nothing about me. This feels like introductions on the first day of elementary school all over again.
Let's see. I go to the same college as Eileen. I've lived in the same city my whole life, but I moved a little closer to campus before semester started, so I'm still getting used to that.
So, you're an, art student, like Eileen.
Ooh. Art student.
Oh, no. I'm nowhere near her level. I'm actually on a science scholarship.
Science, huh?
Okay. She sounds immediately interested, her eyebrows raised, but all I can offer is an evasive dodge. I don't know how to say that I'm not really excited about it, even if I apparently have some talent.
We are in the art club together, though. We met through the mutual friend who made it.
I see.
She sounds so disappointed by, like, art. Her previous curiosity suddenly hits a wall, her entire demeanor changing. Did I say something wrong? The abrupt change in tone completely breaks my train of thought, unsure whether to continue or clear things up. The other problem I have is the feeling of someone's eyes drilling into me. Eileen's mother notices as my eyes shift beside her, hand-holding the little girl's back to reassure her.
Come on, dear. Be polite.
The effort doesn't seem to move her, the girl resisting as her suspicious face shrinks behind her daintily patterned children's plate.
My name's Eve.
She's adorable.
Nice to meet you, Eve. That's a lovely name.
It is a lovely name. I keep smiling, but her pouting shows my charm offensive isn't working. Once again, Eileen comes to the rescue, speaking up as I try to think of another way to overcome her distrust.
Are you going to be like this all night?
Eve just huffs and starts shoveling food into her mouth. The size of her spoon and the table before her makes the attempt at seriousness look more amusing than anything else.
Don't mind her. She'll come around.
I'm sure. She might say that, but I was hoping her cute little sister might be a little warm towards me. At least her mother has given up questioning me for now.
Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. The spare guest room's just been cleaned out a few days ago, so you can use that while you're here.
Thank you very much. I'm really sorry to impose so much on you.
You have charm going for you. Wouldn't you say, Eileen?
Eileen grimaces, her mother embarrassing her in that particular way only a parent knows how. Huh. I can already feel my eyelids getting heavy as I lean back into the wonderfully soft couch, the exhaustion of the trip and meeting with Eileen's folks finally catching up to me as I rest in the living room. The fireplace happily crackles away near the Christmas tree, the cozy room all the warmer thanks to the heat of the shower still lingering on my skin. All that can be heard are the fire and the faint clanking of dishes as Eileen's parents wash up, recounting the day's events between them. I very nearly succumb to my doziness before Eileen walks in, pulling back her still slightly wet hair. The sight of her in pajamas wakes me up a little, though I quickly try to move my gaze elsewhere. She practically collapses onto the couch beside me, staring up at the ceiling for a while to collect herself. I catch myself staring at her, but if she minds, she doesn't know it. She doesn't show it, my bad. What a day. That goes for both of us. I almost mentioned the argument Eileen had with her mother, but I can't work out how I want to phrase it. Maybe it's for the best that Eileen preempts me. So how was the trip, now that we can talk properly? The times we stopped were good. You're braver than I am. Couldn't pay me enough to get on one of those things. Come on. I'm sure you'd be a natural at it. No way. Your roommate's crazy for using it as her only transportation. Your parents seem nice. Eileen just shrugs. I wish they were a little more subtle. About what? Being so specific that you'll use the guest room, not mine. My cheeks flush scarlet as I connect the dots.
Huh?
Did you just realize what that was about?
Oh,
No, but I'm still embarrassed to talk about it. Eileen finds amusement in how flustered I am. I bury my face in my hands. Never change. If I had lied and said we were just friends, I wonder if they would have been so adamant about the two of us not sharing a room. Probably not. I peek at her from behind my hands. I don't really know what to say. I don't know enough about her parents to say anything. Maybe that would have been better, huh? Her smile returns and she leans in towards me. I can feel my face go redder. My heart burning in my chest, all I can do is lean in to meet her. Eileen closes her eyes, our lips meeting for one brief moment. As I pull back, the two of us look at each other and smile, partly from happiness and partly from our sheepishness. It's going to be a while before this comes naturally, I guess. As I watch her, though, Eileen's face slowly collapses into frustration. What's wrong?
everything's wrong.
Eileen makes no secret of her displeasure as she sighs and takes to her feet, confronting the small and very unhappy girl before us. It stings to be so close, only to be interrupted. Eileen's sister takes little notice, directing her pouting towards the object of her annoyance. Me.
She's my sister. I finally get to play with Eileen after so long, and you keep hugging her.
My bad. God. No, I'm just kidding.
Wanna play, do you?
Eileen flits behind Eve while she's busy ranting, bringing her arms around the child's midsection and lifting her up against her chest with ease. As Eve finds her feet dangling a couple inches from the carpet, she begins flailing about to grab a foothold.
Let go of me!
Wow, you haven't grown at all.
Such a sibling thing to say. That'll definitely calm her down. To no surprise, the two start fighting, Eve's slight body jerking this way and that as Eileen plants her feet and refuses to let go despite her squirming around. I'll tell Mom on you!
And what? She'll ground me?
Eve fruitlessly continues to struggle, arms and legs flailing about in the air. For all her frustration and growling, her acting out just makes Eileen all the more amused as she teases her little sister. Watching the two having their little sibling scuffle, it reminds me of my brothers at home. For the first time, my nerves about being here fade a little. Sitting on the side of the bed I'll be using for a week, I idly watch the news on the small television placed on a cabinet. The little speakers on the device try valiantly, but the voices are so tinny I can barely understand them. It's 10:30 in the evening, going by the clock in the corner of the broadcast. Adulthood's weird. Now that I can go to sleep whenever I want without my parents disapproving, I dutifully do so at a reasonable time anyway, so I can be fresh for school. The fact I'm actually watching the news nowadays, too, is strange. Bored of the reports about trucks being stuck after sliding around on the roads, I let myself flop back onto the soft blankets as it drones on. Lacking the energy to do much else, I lazily stare upwards. Yet another unfamiliar ceiling above me. Feels like everything is constantly changing these days. My old home sure didn't have a guest bedroom, let alone one that's so nicely furnished. Here I was thinking I'd be squeezing into Eileen's bed. Not that I'd have minded at all. For all the lovely things she has here, though, Eileen seems to be intentionally trying to distance herself from her parents. I don't understand it at all. She might have told me not to pry into her life, but it's hard to ignore what's right in front of my face. Quickly shuffled myself up at the sound of the opening door sliding across the carpet. With a gentle touch, Eileen gingerly closes the door behind her. I thought everyone to be asleep by now, but maybe I should have expected her, of all people, to still be up.
Eileen.
She puts a finger over her lips as she turns back before walking up, climbing out of the bed and facing me as I twist around. The two of us end up sitting in its center. Shouldn't you be sleeping? Same goes for you. She asked me there. Far from the quiet feeling awkward, I find myself smiling at our secret rendezvous. Feels like we're kids having a sleepover. Too bad the movie is just news instead of some horror movie we snuck past our parents. You did that? once. My friends were so freaked out we went back to the usual horrible romance stuff. There's nothing wrong with romance movies. Face makes it abundantly clear this is a difference of opinion that'll never be bridged. I have to admit, there is one thing different to back then, too. Eileen's body is really hard to ignore when we are like this. As much as I try to distract myself from the subject, she did sneak into my bedroom at night. What's wrong? Nothing, it's just... You're really pretty. It isn't often I catch her being bashful, but I think this might finally be one of those times. My moment of victory is brief, though, with Eileen's quick movement towards me taking me all the more off guard. Unable to make sense of the girl suddenly lunging at me, the both of us are sent falling backwards into the soft mattress. Takes a couple of seconds to collect myself and work out what's happened, time seeming to stop as I'm left staring upwards at the pair of emerald eyes above me. I'm pinned, I think. A brief attempt to right myself ends in little more than a couple of weak jerks, Eileen holding my arms to the thick sheets with her body weight. Silence reigns, my vision filled with her face looking downwards. I have no idea what to say as my heart beats wildly in my chest, yet she doesn't say a word.
Eileen, what are you...
I missed you.
Aww. How am I supposed to respond to that? Were her face any different, I'd think it an invitation, but there's a sincerity there that takes me off guard. I wonder how often I've seen her face, or anyone's from this close, and for so long. I can't help but stare upwards, trying my best to read that face I so often can't. As I do, though, I realize something. She's doing just the same. Maybe she's scared of forcing me to do something I don't want to do, or afraid of getting too close too fast. Maybe she's simply like I am, unused to being looked at this intently. Either way, she isn't leering over me. Eileen's genuinely unsure what to do next. Whatever the reason, I can't help but smile a little.
Did I say something wrong?
I was just thinking how you're still the same as ever.
What's that supposed to mean?
I answer her confusion by lifting my chin a little in invitation. Not that I can move much more. Without any further prompting needed, she presses her lips to mine with a satisfied sigh. It isn't long before our tongues move about, her breath tingling on my face. I squirm about roughly as the atmosphere gets heavier between us, Eileen easily keeping me down. It's a little exciting to be playing like this. She shows no signs of letting up. A shiver runs up my spine as Whoa, wait! Hold on! Wait a minute! A shiver runs up my spine as I find her thigh between my legs and my fidgeting about, my heart beginning to race with ideas of this and that. With lips affectionately breaking and meeting, Eileen barely letting me take so much as a breath, I can't help but think back to the first time we did this. Ah! Then several sharp thuds against the door ring out. My entire body freezes, my heart nearly jumping out of my chest. The both of us freeze up as I break from our kissing to look over, hoping against hope that the door doesn't crack open.
It's getting late, Allison.
Why now, of all times? I can only thank my lucky stars that we've been quiet, but being one door handle turn from being seen like this is far too close for comfort.
Right. Sorry, I'll go to bed soon.
That was remarkably more natural than I thought I'd be able to pull off.
Thank you. If you need anything, just ask. Sleep well.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Hey.
Good night.
As her footsteps go down the hallway, the both of us heave a great sigh. The mood's completely gone as the both of us look to each other. Suppose this is one benefit of Eileen having her own apartment. I run my hands through my hair to settle myself down as Eileen sits back on the bed, wisely letting a few minutes go by before trying to slip out of my room. I also miss living alone. Well, that was annoying. See you tomorrow, I guess. Have a good sleep. With that, she slips off the bed, quietly shuffling across the room before pausing a moment, before turning the handle. As I pick myself up to wish her a good night, she curtly turns back. To be honest, I think you look really pretty, too. I don't manage to form a reply before she skitters out of the room. Then again, my scarlet cheeks probably did the job for me. Alright, with that close call, I'm gonna end this episode here. thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a like, give it click that bell, maybe subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!